This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Buzz. So excited to be speaking with Joe Locke about Agatha All Along. How are you, Joe?
I'm good, thank you. I'm great. How are you?
Good. Do you believe in witchcraft?
I do. I come from a very witchcraft heavy place, and so I feel like it's part of the culture of the island I'm from to believe in witches.
And how does this vision of witchcraft differ from what you sort of grew up learning about?
Well, I think the writers of our show really put a lot of effort into making sure that it was quite an authentic portrayal of witchcraft. It was throughout history and really put a lot of research into that. And so I think it's quite a good portrayal.
And what was your relationship with Marvel in general before becoming part of this project that doesn't really feel like Marvel in a lot of ways?
Yeah, I mean I always loved every Marvel thing when it came out when I was younger. I used to go to the movies with my mum and she would take me to watch all the things, which is really great. And I always have.
And what about WandaVision? Were you watching it when it was coming out?
Yeah, I watched WandaVision when it was coming out, not knowing that I guess before I was even in the industry, before I was even an actor. So I didn't had no idea that it was what the way the world would take me.
Well, with all that as a frame of reference, what was the experience of being like this like, and how did it compare to your expectations?
Um, the experience was just amazing, really. I had so much fun with the people and it's such a meaty character. Billy's such a interesting and layered and so many gray areas to explore there with him. Um, and I think I thought going into it that doing a Marvel show meant that like everything was very like prescriptive and you had to do what the executives wanted, but we were given so much creative freedom with our characters and it was really great.
Is there anything in particular that you're like, this is something I added, this wasn't in the script or in the direction, this is all me?
I think it was more like Jack and the creative team were really open to like our ideas of like who the characters were and like rather than being like prescriptive. But there was a few times that like I would a line would change or I'd be like, oh, I feel like you'd say it like this, and then or like improv stuff as well.
I feel like in a sense you're playing a few different characters, but what do you
Yeah,
like most about all of them, I guess?
yeah. I mean, especially with Billy because he's like acting for half of the show. Like he's lying and putting on the show for half of the show. It is like playing different characters and that like then when you reveal the real him and then he puts on this different mask and this other mask and it was so much fun like working out like oh what does he know in this point but what does he want everyone else to know that he knows but then what does he actually know to know. It was all very confusing and fun.
And I think that's an important thing that you pull off well because there are a lot of shows where like they reveal someone's the bad guy and all of a sudden it's like everything is different. And in this, there's still like there's a lot of resentment and a lot of anger that comes out, but I think it's all still, whereas Agatha has her own way of sort of being witty and evil and
Yeah.
whatever, I think for Billy, he has his own vibe, which works pretty well for him.
Yeah, he does it's I loved exploring that side of him. That was my favorite thing. There's a scene in episode 6 where after Agatha comes out of the mud and she confronts me for the first time and there was a scene we were doing a take, and Catherine, as Agatha, was just not letting me get my line out, so I screamed in her face, and it was like the first time I felt I was like, oh, cool. No, Billy's a he's a cool guy. He would do that. Like you wouldn't have ever expected Billy in episode 2 to scream in Agatha's face.
Well, talking to some of your co-stars, I mentioned, all the visual effects, and they're like, well, actually, everything was pretty practical, and it's sort of not as much as you would have thought in there.
No, I don't think there was any special effects, visual effects. Obviously, like a little bit of, but like no CGI. I don't think. It was all practical effects, which is really great. Like I don't know, as like a film nerd, was great to like watch these like creative people find make these like gags and these tricks, and but also like as an actor, it's so nice to actually see the thing you're supposed to be acting with rather than just a green tennis ball.
Well, you do have a lot of costumes. Do you have a favorite among them or anything that you really might have worked, but you really didn't like?
Yeah, I mean, I my favorite will always be my superhero suit in episode 8. You can't beat it. It's everyone wants their own superhero costume, and I got one, so that was pretty cool. Um, But I loved the road outfit, like the classic with the cardigan and the jumper. It was really a really clever outfit because it actually holds all the secrets of the show within the make of the costume. And there's like a wonder crown hidden somewhere and vision stuff hidden somewhere else, and it's all like part of the design, but it's there the whole time, but no one would know until you know. Um, but my least favorite costume is probably ooh, I don't think I had one. I love them all.
You seemed ready. You were like, I have something, and then no, no.
Yeah.
Well, I won't ask you who your least favorite co-star is, but I am curious, just about working with all these legends. Is there anybody who really surprised you, who just wasn't, what you expected?
Um, I mean, they were all amazing and all like taught me so much in different ways. Deborah Jo Rupp is the funniest person in the world. She, I just like 2 minutes with her and I like hurt from laughing. She is just amazing. All of them actually were really hilarious, but Deborah Jo is just like if I ever corpsed on set, it was because of Deborah Jo. She just says something in the most funny way and unexpected. Like you read a line and you like read it in your head, like, oh, this is how it probably will sound. And she'd say it in the most unexpected but amazing way that I just couldn't ever stop laughing.
The show obviously was very well received, and there's a huge audience, I think, both for Marvel stuff and for this in particular. Have you engaged at all with the fan community?
Yeah. I mean, Marvel fans are always so great at being like committed to the characters and really like showing up for the show and it's been really special to be a part of something that like people seem to enjoy in that way, which is really lovely.
And it's hard to know what's next after all these great Marvel limited series, just because some are supposed to be one season, some aren't. Who knows? Do you have an interest? Because it sort of leaves the door open for more, but I don't think there's more planned. What's your take on what's next, and do you want there to be more of this?
Yeah, I in a heartbeat would love to work with all of those people again. It was the most amazing group of people, and um, given the opportunity, I would, but I just don't know.
Given your familiarity with all the Marvel movies, is there a particular, villain, hero, team, whatever that you'd like to somehow engage with
Mhm.
if it made sense story-wise?
Um, I feel like Billy could learn a lot from like Doctor Strange. Um, that would be cool.
I know that despite your limited acting experience, you've also been involved in another widely popular show, which is Heartstopper. How did the two fan bases for these shows compare? And is there a lot of overlap?
I think there is quite a bit of overlap, you know. It's they're both very like intense fan bases in an amazing way, but like they're both fan bases really care a lot about the characters, which is really nice. Like I was saying, it's nice to be part of things that like people care about, um, uh, which is really lovely.
I think both shows also deal with gender and sexuality in a really wonderful and a forward-thinking way,
Yeah,
especially for Marvel stuff, which is still pretty good. I think this is definitely pushing the envelope in the best possible way. Is that something that's
yeah,
important to you in your career as you seek out roles to have shows that are like this?
yeah. I think positive representation is always great.
Absolutely. So what's next for you?
We're about to do another Heartstopper. We're doing a film to finish it off. We start shooting very soon.
What can you preview about that in terms of how it'll feel and how fans, not what's going to happen, please don't do that, but how people will feel after watching?
I think it's going to be a really nice closing chapter for the story, and it's going to really not finish, but like round off the story in a very nice and cinematic way.
Do you have the desire to do more TV after this? Do you want to do more film?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to do anything, anyone who can give me a job.
Is there a certain genre that you would be particularly excited
I
about
want to
trying?
do a really gory body horror. Like, I want to spend 6 hours in the makeup chair kind of horror. Yeah.
Those do seem to be pretty popular these days, so I think that's definitely the right time for that. Are there any directors whose work you admire who you really would like to work with also?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I'd love to work with Edgar Wright one day. I think he has such an incredible style. I love the style of all of his films. And Luca Guadagnino is great, and I as a teenager, Call Me by Your Name like ruined me as a little gay 15-year-old. Um, so I'd love to work with either of them.
And what are you watching on TV these days? What has impressed you recently?
I just finished watching the new Daredevil, and that was great. I love like the mix of like a procedural crime drama and like a superhero show. Like some of my two favorite things. So I've enjoyed that. What else have I been watching? Finished The White Lotus, obviously, which is great as it always is. Um, always so clever. I love a clever TV show. I like a show that has like you guessing what's going to happen next.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Joe, so much for your time. I really appreciate it and wish you luck with whatever it is that comes next for you.
Great, thank you.